Over the last few weeks, I've been gathering information on all 32 NFL teams, so I can rank each and every one of them. There's no doubt that some franchises are better than others.
Will the Cowboys ever win another Super Bowl?
No.
Will the Cowboys ever win another playoff game that matters?
No.
In this video, I will briefly break down every NFL team's performance since 2000, based on these categories, and rank them on a tier list. I'm sure some of you won't like this video very much. Also, I'll leave some timestamps down below for each team. Keep in mind, this is beginning with the 2000 season, and doesn't include the playoffs from the 1999 season. Sorry Titans and Rams fans. Well, maybe you don't deserve it anyway. Now, before we continue, this video is brought to you by Manscaped. Let's check out their latest grooming and hygiene bundle, the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra electric trimmer. With the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, they've taken grooming precision to a whole new level with their next-gen dual skin-safe blade heads, now accompanied by an upgraded trimmer blade and interchangeable foil blade for enhanced performance. First, the upgraded trimmer blade features longer, wider, and rounded teeth that cut through hairs with ease. It's a precision powerhouse. But here's my personal favorite, the foil blade. Its mission? To leave you with that irresistibly smooth, bare finish as it moves softly across your skin, snatching even the finest hairs. Start your trimming session using the trimmer blade, then easily pop it off and attach the foil blade to get down to skin level. If you're part of the OG Manscaped fam, this trimmer is a tribute to the classics, upholding the same features that we've all come to love, including still being waterproof. Also, you can't forget about the Weed Whacker 2.0. Built with skin-safe technology, this bad boy is designed to tackle those nose and ear hairs with ease. Elevate your skincare routine with the Crop Soother and Crop Preserver. And it doesn't stop there. When you purchase the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, you receive 2 free gifts, the Boxers 2.0 and the Shed 2.0, a place to keep all your grooming gear organized and ready to roll. Head over to manscaped.com and get your hands on the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra today. When you use my promo code KTO, you'll get 20% off plus free international shipping plus 2 free gifts. That's 20% off plus free shipping and 2 free gifts using promo code KTO at manscaped.com/KTO. Your balls will thank you. The Arizona Cardinals.
I'm a 20-year Cardinal season ticket holder. I'm extremely disappointed.
Since 2000, the Cardinals have been one of the most irrelevant franchises in the league outside of an insane Super Bowl run in 2008 and an NFC Championship appearance in 2015. Not only have they struggled to win games, but they have one of the smallest fan bases in the NFL.
Undo it. Flip it up. It's upside down. It's theater painting. It does pretty good. It'll start running by the end of the tailgate, but hopefully it'll last.
They've only made the playoffs 5 times since 2000 and have one of the worst overall win percentages in the league. Those 2 random playoff runs are enough to pull them out of F tier, but they can't be any higher than D tier. The Atlanta Falcons.
Skips, the Falcons were bad. I remember when they played in Fulton County Stadium. You had a pair of cleats and you came to Fulton County Stadium, you were a big kid, they might put your ass in the game.
These guys have been bad in recent memory, missing the playoffs the last 6 seasons. But overall, they have been a team that has found themselves smack dab in the middle statistically since 2000. The Falcons have been to 3 NFC championships since 2000, advancing to 1 Super Bowl. However, their most notable achievement is also forever entangled with their most humiliating moment. At their best, they have been electric offensively, whether it was the Vic years or the peak Matt Ryan and Julio Jones years.
Looking, just going to throw it deep for Jones, double coverage. Oh, what a catch!
But overall, they have failed to be consistent contenders, which lands them in C tier. The Baltimore Ravens. As one of the premier franchises in the league, the Ravens have been consistent playoff contenders, have a top 4 winning percentage, and most importantly, 2 Super Bowl wins. John Harbaugh has been the team's head coach since 2008, making him the 2nd longest tenured head coach in the league. What's so impressive about this franchise is just how well they've been able to transition into their next eras. Their 2 Super Bowl victories came in 2 different eras with 2 different coaches. They made the decision to completely change their offensive identity from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson, which immediately worked.
Himself, look at him turn back and forth. Oh, he is Houdini.
Even though they've been stumped in the playoffs these last few years, it's extremely rare to make that kind of switch up and still be consistently relevant. The Ravens belong in A tier. The Buffalo Bills.
It very well may be Buffalo Bills fans are a breed apart.
Recent success has masked an otherwise embarrassing 21st century for this franchise. Prior to 2017, the Bills held the longest playoff drought, which lasted 17 years. In that time, they had 8 head coaches and 2 interim coaches before figuring things out. But to be fair to Buffalo, you can't look past the remarkable turnaround they've had.
The Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming.
6 playoff appearances in 7 seasons has made them completely relevant in recent years. They struggle when it matters most, but the excitement Josh Allen brings has made them, at the very least, watchable. This pulled them out of F tier, but the lack of playoff success holds them back from moving any higher than D tier. The Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth and claws. We growl to win this game. We call pro football.
Recently, this franchise has been awful. But like the Cardinals, they have these out-of-nowhere great moments. Most notably, one of the most random Super Bowl runs of any team in the NFL, which happened back in 2003.
DeLone fires to an open Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
They also had that 3-year run that peaked with Cam Newton's MVP season in 2015. But overall, the Panthers have been mediocre, producing as average playoff performers and one of the worst overall win percentages in the league. 2 NFC championships, alongside their relatively average performance in the playoffs, lands them in C tier next to the Falcons. The Cincinnati Bengals.
What's your favorite sports team?
Well, Cincinnati Bengals. Who dey?
They have been one of the worst teams in NFL history.
The Bengals didn't win a single playoff game from 2000 to 2020. Then Joe Burrow got his feet under himself, and they nearly won the Super Bowl after a remarkable playoff run during the 2021 season.
Oh my goodness, how did he get another chance?
Overall, this franchise has been mostly mediocre, despite one of the most stable coaching situations in the league since 2000. The Bengals are an example of a slightly below average team with a Super Bowl appearance. They land in C tier just behind the others I've mentioned so far. The Cleveland Browns.
Last calendar year, you had the Cavaliers, who had just won the NBA championship. We had a parade in the city for that. You had the Indians that won the AL pennant. So you had all those good vibes. And then comes Sunday with the Browns. Every single Sunday was just bad.
Truly a representation of what not to be as an organization. They've had a revolving door of coaches, quarterbacks, and GMs. They are the perfect example of a team that can't get out of their own way.
It is picked up by Will Hill. Hill's going to get a block. Will Hill is going to win the game.
The Browns also share the dishonor of being one of 2 franchises to have a winless season in the 21st century. The Stefanski years have been a good sign of hope, but it's covered in a dark cloud of Deshaun Watson. When you rank nearly dead last in every category, us Browns fans know exactly where this team is going to land. F tier. The Chicago Bears.
Kicks off.
Oh no!
He missed it!
The Bears share similar team success to the Cardinals and Bengals. Each 2 conference title games, 1 conference title, and no Super Bowl. And none of which consistently perform well. Out of the 3 though, the Bears are the worst when it matters most.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
They've had just 3 playoff wins since 2000, and 0 since 2010, which makes it very difficult to let the Bears make it to C tier. They land next to the Cardinals and Bills in D tier. And just for clarification, when you look at these 4 teams, they look really similar in statistical performance, but I only made the Bengals a C tier franchise. Why? Because I valued their 3+ more playoff appearances. The Bills have a slightly overall better win percentage, but the Bengals have won the AFC Championship and the Bills have not. Buffalo could escape D tier this year considering they've been on the cusp of a Super Bowl run for years now. The Dallas Cowboys.
You know when the Dallas Cowboys lost to the Rams a few years ago in the playoffs? I was at the JW Marriott downtown, literally standing at the front door in the lobby waiting for Cowboy fans. Don't you want to take a picture? Don't you want to sit here with me? And I wish I was in Dallas yesterday where, did you see all of those fans crying? Did you see it? I mean, the ladies were crying, dudes were crying. I mean, it's beautiful.
When it comes to the value of a franchise, these guys are S tier. However, in all metrics related to on-field performance, they are nowhere near that same pedigree. What has truly defined the Cowboys throughout the 21st century has been their consistent playoff meltdowns.
All year, I was called a hater, cowboy hater. I was trying to save you and your fans from this kind of disappointment.
They've produced a top 10 winning percentage, yet are just one of 5 franchises to not reach the conference championship game. In fact, the Cowboys haven't made it past the divisional round since 1995. Now, to their credit, they've rarely been terrible in the last 20 years, and have managed to take home 7 division championships. They rank out similarly in terms of playoff wins to the Bills and Cardinals, but have performed much more consistently during the regular season. Sure, they aren't good in the playoffs, but at least they haven't been a complete embarrassment in most seasons like the D-tier teams. The Cowboys belong at the bottom of C tier. The Denver Broncos.
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride.
You okay?
Now, here's a bizarre team. They won the Super Bowl in 2015 and haven't been back to the playoffs since. It's actually wild how the Panthers and Broncos played in that Super Bowl and combined have one playoff appearance since. Recency bias suggests that these guys belong somewhere in the lower tiers.
And throws it away, and once again, with boos raining down.
However, their 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl victory highlight one of the above-average franchises in the 21st century. They are like if the Cowboys performed well a few times in the playoffs. Of course, it helped a lot that they convinced Peyton Manning to sign with them. Overall, the Broncos land in B tier. The Detroit Lions.
We the Detroit Lions, stop playing with us. I don't even watch TV, but I heard everybody already pick the Packers over us. Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
These guys have been battling the Browns as the worst organization in the NFL since 2000. But 2023 has moved them away from the worst team honors for now. Still, even though things look promising, they need more success with the current regime to make up for the atrocities this team has put their fans through over the years.
And he's out of bounds. Poor guy, I don't even know if he realized it. Well, so much for me calling him savvy because he had no idea.
The 0-16 season, the only team without a playoff win in the 21st century until 2023, and how their franchise quarterback was traded and immediately won a Super Bowl the year he left. This list can go on. Recency bias doesn't save the Lions from F tier, but they are ahead of the Browns. The Green Bay Packers.
Wait, don't move up. I got it, I'm getting it.
This franchise has pulled off something practically unheard of in the NFL. They went from Hall of Fame quarterback to Hall of Fame quarterback. And just to add to that, immediately went to another high potential quarterback that has already performed well.
Right now takes off and will pick up a first down and more.
They've been amazingly consistent with the best win percentage in the NFC and have reached 6 NFC Championship appearances. They make the NFC Championship about as often as they miss the playoffs. And they at least got 1 Super Bowl win in the Rodgers era. However, their lack of deep playoff runs has been jarring. In those 6 NFC Championships, they've only won once. You may be surprised to find out that I have the Packers at the top of B tier. Honestly, they are a B+ team in my opinion. But this grading scale really values Super Bowl victories, and everybody in A tier and above has at least 2. The Houston Texans.
The team that was supposed to suck forever. Dumpster fire was supposed to continue to be on fire. Not even a fire, just a dumpster. Not even a spectacle, just a bland metal barrel of shit.
Entering the league as an expansion team in 2002, these guys were terrible during the 2000s, but were actually decent in the 2010s, producing more winning seasons than not. Like Dallas, they can't get over the hump in the postseason. The difference between them and the Cowboys, though, is that at least the Cowboys have been consistent in the regular season. The Texans have yet to appear in a conference championship game and have one of the worst overall win percentages in the league. However, they are still noticeably better than any F-tier franchise that will be mentioned in this video. The Texans belong at the bottom of D tier. The Indianapolis Colts.
You got Griff Whalen ready to take the snap. Actually, Colt Anderson is behind him. And what in the world?
There was no team not named the Patriots that dominated the 2000s like the Colts. 9 straight playoff runs that had 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl win. They ranked top 10 in every important team category. But with that said, things have been rough for them since Andrew Luck started getting routinely injured. Since 2015, for the most part, the Colts have been irrelevant. Still, you can't look past those Manning and early Luck years. The first half of the 21st century had them as an A-tier franchise. The second half, a C-tier, which ultimately lands them in B-tier. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house.
How they messed things up after their remarkable first 5 years as a franchise is a crime. One random conference title run in 2017 isn't enough to keep the Jags out of F tier. They have just 4 playoff appearances since 2000 and are routinely picking in the top 5. Also, they've had no repeat playoff appearances. They've had almost double the amount of head coaches as playoff appearances in the 21st century. Ranking near the bottom in every important category, this franchise has been forgettable since 2000. The Kansas City Chiefs.
Taylor is in the house.
Taylor Swift.
She's going to be here.
Taylor Swift.
Right on time. Taylor Swift.
I get it!
From 2000 to 2012, the Chiefs were a mediocre team that didn't win a single playoff game. Then they hired this guy, and everything changed. Andy Reid brought in Alex Smith amongst others, and they made the Chiefs a routine playoff contender.
Smith takes it across the 30 and still going.
Then Smith handed the reins to Mahomes. And, well, the rest of the AFC has taken a backseat to what these guys have been able to do. In the midst of an all-time legendary run, the Chiefs are the kings of the league currently. 3 Super Bowl wins in 5 years is legendary status. Since Mahomes took over as the starter, they've at least made the conference championship game every year. They have a long ways to go to catch the Patriots' legacy, although they do appear to have a chance at pulling it off. The Chiefs belong at the top of A tier. The Las Vegas Raiders.
Where you at?
These guys are easily the worst franchise since 2000 that has reached a Super Bowl. That Super Bowl appearance feels like a lifetime ago, and they've only been to the playoffs twice since 2002. Both times they lost immediately. For a long time, their most notable player was a kicker. They've had more head coaches than playoff games played in since 2000. Ranking near the bottom in every important category, not even a Super Bowl appearance is enough to keep them from F tier. But I will put them ahead of Jacksonville. The Los Angeles Chargers.
It's a walk-in. 4th down and goal.
These guys sort of remind me of the Cowboys, but with less fans.
It almost sounds as if there's booing to the home team.
Always a promising team according to the media, and have slightly above average win percentage, but when it comes to the postseason, they struggle. What makes the Chargers super disappointing is the fact that they've had great quarterbacks since 2000, and they've done virtually nothing when it mattered. They are one of the few teams that have struggled and can't say that they are just a quarterback away from getting over the hump. In their defense, it was pretty brutal that their best era was during the peak of the Brady-Manning years. Overall, their somewhat consistent regular season performance makes them an average team, which means that they belong at the bottom of C tier, right next to the Cowboys. The Los Angeles Rams. If you included 1999, the Rams look a lot better, but without it, they are one of the weaker Super Bowl winning teams in the NFL. Without 1999, you have the tail end of the greatest show on turf, then a 12-year playoff drought as one of the worst franchises in the NFL.
That's James Butler. He's in the end zone. That's a safety.
And then the resurrection of the team with Sean McVay. The St. Louis years would have had this team in C or probably D tier, but the incredible LA years, highlighted by 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl win, sneak this team into the bottom of B tier. Honestly, that trade for Matt Stafford will go down as one of the greatest ever. The Miami Dolphins.
Stay tuned. I'll have details on how to enter, and we'll be announcing a winner later tonight.
It was a little long, and I think you flubbed on that last.
Did not flub at all.
These guys are the definition of consistent mediocrity. The team that couldn't win a Super Bowl with Dan Marino,
There was no flub. It was not a flub.
has only continued that losing legacy into the 21st century. They have a slightly below average winning percentage, but even when they manage to make it over the hump, they immediately lose in the playoffs. They are like the Cowboys, except worse and not as popular. The Dolphins have the longest streak in the NFL without a playoff win, which happened all the way back in 2000. Despite an exciting fast-paced team today, the Dolphins belong in F tier. Honestly, they are just behind the Raiders. At least the Raiders made a few playoff runs in the early 2000s. The Minnesota Vikings.
Run it, Favre! Fucking interception! Are you fucking kidding me?
These guys have been remarkably inconsistent, with 6 separate one-year-and-done playoff appearances. Their only consecutive run, which was a 2-year stretch from 2008 to 2009, marks the most impressive accomplishment by the franchise since 2000.
Throws into traffic, the catch made by Harvin. He cuts it back the other way and into the end zone.
Which peaked with their conference title run led by Brett Favre. Although Vikings fans don't want to remember how that one ended.
Right, throws back across the middle, and he's intercepted.
Other than playoff inconsistency, the Vikings have actually produced an above-average winning percentage, and have at least made 3 NFC title games since 2000. Ultimately, they land right next to the Bengals in C tier. The New England Patriots.
This is like why marriages don't work out. The second there's like rough water, people leave, and then what do? Do they stay single? They get married again. You're going to get rid of Bill Belichick, and you're going to bring some guy in with no rings.
You want to talk about the Chiefs winning 3 Super Bowls in a very short amount of time? Well, the Patriots managed to pull that off not once, but twice since 2000. The Patriots had established themselves as a dynasty in the early 2000s. But with Tom Brady going above and beyond even the wildest expectations, the Patriots continued to reinvent themselves year after year. Whether it was coming back down from 28-3 in the Super Bowl,
28-3, good one. We've heard that before.
or holding the Rams to 3 points in another Super Bowl, they did whatever it took to win. And after so much experience gained over time, this cast and crew, led by Belichick and Brady, knew the game better than anyone. These guys are so far ahead of the competition, they have more conference championships compared to the second place Chiefs than the Chiefs have on the last place team in the NFL. They have 13 more playoff wins than second place as well. Ranking first by a mile in every category, it's no surprise that the Patriots stand alone in S tier. The New Orleans Saints.
What do you think about the Saints?
They're for real. They're going all the way. They know they're going to the Super Bowl this year. Hey.
What do you think of the Saints, Jimmy?
Yeah, Jamie, what do you think about the Saints this year?
Because of Drew Brees and Sean Payton primarily, this team was consistently solid.
Right stack, 394. Dragon smoke, kill, turbo, sucker right.
They were defined often by high-volume offense and a weak defense that often held them back. But they did manage to put together an amazing season capped off with a Super Bowl win in 2009. The Brees-Payton years helped them maintain a top 10 win percentage in the league, but outside of that Super Bowl run, the lack of playoff success was disappointing. Although I will say that they got screwed out of a Super Bowl appearance back in 2019. As an above-average NFL team with a Super Bowl ring, the Saints belong in B tier, tied with the Rams. The New York Giants.
He's got to win on that route, and he gives up, and Beckham's headbutting equipment on the sidelines.
Honestly, these guys are the perfect opposite to the Cowboys. Overall, they are consistently mediocre on a year-to-year basis.
You know, Daniel Jones, I know he's not a world beater, but you know I defend him in a lot of ways because I think he's been in a tough situation.
But 3 separate, insane playoff runs make them the more successful franchise. They won 2 of those, the peak of which came when they beat the undefeated Patriots in 2007, the biggest upset in Super Bowl history. The Giants are such an odd team to rank, because everything outside of those playoff runs screams C tier. To me, they are a C tier franchise with 2 insane Super Bowl runs. You gotta respect Super Bowls though, so they land at the top of B tier. The New York Jets.
In Indianapolis, the offensive coordinator, you got a busted play here, and then Sanchez gets hit.
The Jets are kinda like a worse version of the Giants. A worse overall win percentage, and 2 random playoff runs. but not as impressive. Those 2 playoff runs were still insane though. They included 4 road playoff wins, 2 of which came against Brady and Manning. But outside of that, the Jets haven't made the playoffs since 2010. They've just been dwelling at the bottom of the AFC, going through coach after coach and quarterback after quarterback. As a C-tier franchise in the 2000s and an F-tier in the 2010s, the Jets belong at the bottom of D-tier next to the Texans. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Listen, this is our year. Every other year, we've came close, but this year is our year. Jeff Garcia, baby, is our baby. He's our baby.
These guys are rarely terrible, making the playoffs twice as much as not since 2000. The Eagles have the most playoff wins of any NFC team, along with 7 conference championship appearances and 3 Super Bowl appearances, all with different coaches and quarterbacks, which is truly remarkable. Although the Giants do have that extra ring on them, which hurts, considering that they are division opponents and the Eagles have dominated their rivalry in the 21st century. For a while, the Eagles were the best team in the 21st century to not win a Super Bowl, until they won in 2017. If they could have pulled off that Super Bowl versus the Chiefs, they would have been A-tier. For now, the Eagles are in B-tier behind the Giants, but should be recognized as the best franchise in the NFL with 1 or less Super Bowl wins since 2000. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
You've been using my shampoo because it's for guys who want thicker looking hair.
I didn't use it.
Didn't you?
Yes.
From the same state as the Eagles, the Steelers are one of the few teams ahead of the Eagles in the rankings. Even at their most disappointing, Pittsburgh is a regular in the postseason. After drafting Big Ben, their run from 2004 to 2008 was peak Pittsburgh. Tough and rugged defense with a run-heavy offense helped them reach and win 2 Super Bowls under 2 different head coaches. They even made another Super Bowl in 2010, which they lost. This really set a high standard for what became a disappointing 2010s, despite being one of the most impressive teams in the NFL. With top 5 rankings in every important category, the Steelers land in A-tier, tied with the Ravens. Both are still behind the Chiefs though. The San Francisco 49ers.
He's going forward! He's going forward! He went forward!
Historically, they are one of the all-time great franchises. But since 2000, this hasn't been the case. This is an odd team. Either they're super competitive,
49ers moving on, another NFC championship,
or terrible. They are tied 3rd for NFC championship appearances, tied for 7th in playoff wins, and tied for 15th with the Falcons in overall win percentage. The Niners are in this unique position where they're the best performing playoff team to not win a Super Bowl since 2000. They have more playoff wins than the Giants and Bucks, both of whom have won 2 Super Bowls, as well as the one-time Super Bowl winner Colts, Rams, Saints, and Broncos. Which raises this question: how valuable is playoff success without a Super Bowl in determining a franchise ranking? What makes things even more dicey is just how bad they were during the 2000s and for half the 2010s. Their last 5 years have single-handedly raised them out of C-tier, in my opinion. But with the lack of Super Bowls, they can't rank higher than in B-tier behind all the Super Bowl winners. The Niners are the highest ranked team in the NFL to not win a Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks.
I'm here so I won't get fined. I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm here so I won't get fined.
Consistent, insanely dominant at times, and displaying the best defense of the 2010s, the Seahawks are one of 8 teams to reach 3 Super Bowls since 2000. They've maintained top 10 status in all important team categories that I've listed, which is impressive considering how bad of a franchise they were prior to 2000. They have very similar numbers to the 49ers. However, the Seahawks did what the Niners couldn't do and won a Super Bowl. Although as sweet as this was, their Super Bowl loss the year after was much more painful than that one was glorious. Still, the Seahawks land in B tier, slightly ahead of the Packers due to winning 3 NFC championships versus their 1. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here's another bizarre team. Of the 4 franchises with 2 Super Bowls, the Bucs, along with the Giants, are not like the Ravens and Steelers. Both have mostly struggled since 2000, outside of 2 insane playoff runs each. The Bucs achieved their first Super Bowl back in 2002, and immediately the ship began to sink. They became a laughingstock. had a 12-year playoff drought, and then somehow they signed Tom Brady and immediately won a Super Bowl. Those 2 Super Bowls earned them at least B tier next to the Giants, since only 6 franchises have achieved this honor, but an overall win percentage comparable to the Jets keeps them from being any higher. The Tennessee Titans.
I'm not going to say a single word about the Tennessee Titans record. With that being said, we did not punt much against the Tennessee Titans, so you probably have no clue who I am.
Although they technically appeared in a Super Bowl in 2000, it was during the 1999 season. For the sake of this video, I will once again clarify that we are beginning with the 2000 season. So with that said, the Titans are mostly a forgotten, in the middle somewhere franchise. They've had no Super Bowl appearances and 2 AFC Championship appearances 19 years apart. They were exciting with Aaron McNair in the early 2000s, rest in peace. But since then, they have struggled to find a franchise quarterback, which has certainly held them back. Statistically falling in the middle of the NFL, the Titans land in C tier next to the Chargers and Cowboys. And for the final team in this video, the Washington Redskins. No, football team. No, Commanders.
It's derogatory, Mr. Cartman. It makes us feel like a joke.
Guys, when I named my company Washington Redskins, it was out of deep appreciation for your team and your people.
With more name changes than playoff wins since 2000, Washington is truly one of the most embarrassing franchises of the 21st century. As one of 5 teams to not reach a conference championship in this era, Washington has rarely been in the news for something positive. They rank near the bottom in every category that matters. And overall, Washington lands in F tier between the Raiders and Jags. So in wrapping up this video, let me know what you think about where I ranked your team. Like I said, I really placed an emphasis on Super Bowl wins opposed to other successes. Also, let me know who you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year. Setting my fandom aside, here's who I think will take home the Lombardi.
Much on defense. 2nd and 2.